Hello, I'm Uday Pratap Singh. Good evening and a very warm welcome to a special program, Cricket Predicta on NewsX, powered by 1xBat. And today is a very special day for cricket fans across the world. Yesterday marks that very moment that the teams have been fighting for, that very moment that our experts have been waiting for, that very moments that fans have been waiting for, that very moment that we Indians have been waiting for too. Yesterday is the grand finale of the T20 World Cup 2024, which commenced on the 2nd of June. The final showdown will be between the undefeated teams of India and South Africa at the Kensington Oval, Bridgetown, Barbados. South Africa secured their spot in the final with an impressive streak of 8 consecutive wins, while India won 7 out of their 8 matches, with 1 match being cancelled due to rain. This is India's 3rd time in a T20 World Cup final, having won the title in 2007 and finishing as runners-up in 2014. South Africa, on the other hand, is making its first ever appearance in a World Cup final. Historically, the two teams have faced each other 26 times in T20 international matches, with India winning 14 times and South Africa winning 11 times. In T20 World Cup encounters, India has triumphed in 4 out of 6 games. The Kensington Oval has seen 32 T20 international matches, where the team batting first has won 19 times and the chasing team has won 11 times with 2 no results. Notably, the highest run chase on this ground is 172, indicating the potential for a high-scoring match. However, rain is a looming threat for today's match. Although a reserve day is in place, if rain disrupts play on both days, then both teams will be declared joint winners. But we certainly hope that that will not be the end result. Joining us at this point is Paul Dennett, cricket journalist. We also have Tatenda Ziambe, cricket expert from Zimbabwe, live with us. Noel David, former Indian cricketer, joins us live. Tanmay Mishra, former Kenyan cricketer, is live with us. Let's go straight across to Sunil Yashkalra, founder Indian Sports Fan, for all the action and all the analysis. It's a big day. It's the final. Sunil, what's to be expected?
Well, Uday, you can't get better than being at the heart of ICC headquarters, where cricket is organized and created. Well, I'm close at a fan park cafe where the fans are going to get ready, and this is what the atmosphere looks like. I'm going to pan the camera a little later in the show, but I'm pleased to welcome Noel David, former Indian cricketer, Paul Dennett, one of the best voices of the game from Australia, Tanmay Mishra, the former Kenyan World Cup star, and Tatenda Ziambe from Harare. You must remember, after this, India goes and plays in Harare. Again, a matter of great pride for all of us. Paul Dennett, straight on to you. Which hat are you wearing today? Indian, South African, or Australian?
Well, I just realised I'm wearing a blue shirt, but that's just nothing should be taken into that. It's going to be massive for either side. If South Africa win after all the heartbreak they've had in white ball tournaments, it'll be a huge moment for them. The support there is huge. But, of course, the support in India is something at next level. And it's been a long time since they've won a major event as well. So some team tonight is going to be absolutely ecstatic. And for another team, it's going to be, oh, no, what went wrong? I think what we should have is an American-style best-of-7 matches. If that were the case, I would be tipping India 4-1 or 4-2. I think India do deserve to go in as favourites, but if it happens to be the 1 or the 2 games out of 7 that South Africa would have got the win, then the upset is certainly possible. So India, but you just never know.
Tanmay, you played for Kenya at the World Cup. What does your heart say? What does your mind say? What does your vocal boxes say? Dil hai Hindustani or straight supporting the African continent?
Well, the house, whenever I represented Kenya and we came up against India, or whenever we played India A, the house was divided. So I am living in Africa, but the heart belongs to India, always has. And it's going to be interesting, for both teams. It's a matter of great pride. For South Africa, it's been, more than 32, 33 years. To look back at South African squads that have taken part in the ICC tournament, some magical players, some huge players, but it's this team that has, brought them on the brink of history. On the other hand, we've got a team, and we've got the India team, and we've got their fans, 1.4 billion people. That's just in India, and the expectations, crying out loud for an ICC trophy for a better part of 11 years. So yeah, India do go in as favorites. Judging by how they've played, they've been clinical, and they have to bring their A game. I agree with what Paul says. It's one off. I would definitely want a best of three, not a best of seven, but a best of three in any finals. To know who's the ideal winner. But yeah, it's even the stats man just pointed out to us that the team that bats first has a better chance. So all in all, it's going to be. I hope it's an exciting final.
Well, you've got a house divided. Noel David, what is your understanding of the entire situation? Is it the best Indian bowling attack? Is it the best Indian batting attack? And perhaps the best wicketkeeper in the world? All clicking at the same time? Would you believe that?
Yes, I think it's overall. Overall, I think all three departments, they've been brilliant throughout this tournament, from the start, from the league to the semi-finals. They kept their fielding standards very high. If you see the catches which were taken by Siraj, Akshar, Rishabh Pant himself, who's been brilliant after that recovery of his batting has come a long way. I think the bowling, we all know about the bowling. The spinners came into the play, which was very, very important when we landed in West Indies. We knew that it will help the spinners. Batting, as we all know, that it all depended upon the first four to five batsmen, and they delivered. Yes, Virat is a bit out of form, but I think today will be the day where we'll see the King Kohli in action.
Well, absolutely. Everybody is cheering for King Kohli. In fact, after IPL, it happened like that. Tatinda, how do you rate a team which has got 7 man of the matches, out of which 6 players have got it? Do you think that gives an edge over South Africa?
Yeah, most definitely. And it's almost like I want to take a bit of a small victory lap, because I think in a lot of the analysis we had coming into here, I'm not going to mention any names, Noel, or people like that, who are worried about India's performance going into the World Cup. I had always said, look, man for man, player to player, this India squad should be competing. They should be in this position that they're in now. And I think as Paul Zanet rightly pointed out, one game is one game. Anything can happen. My heart wants South Africa to win. I've been traumatized enough times over the years to know that might not happen. But my head told me, look, India, top to bottom, whether we're looking at look, Kohli hasn't really been on his A game. That's not to say he hasn't tried to play great or anything. But so deep is India that hasn't even been an issue. They've just won games at a canter. So I think that's what this is going to come down to, in a sense. Which team wants it more? But I think India is well positioned to win today's final.
Paul, well, very nicely put it, Paul. In little detail, can you explain that has the dependency on Rohit and Virat moved to the other part where the middle orders are coming into play?
Well, I think that Rohit has played some very crucial innings in the last two matches. I think there is a reliance on him, but it doesn't matter if he doesn't succeed, in the sense that I think he's got the confidence in the middle order to know that he can go out and play with that free ticket. A bit like Adam Gilchrist used to do for Australia. That Sharma can go up there today and say, I'm going to just play very, very aggressively. And before you know it, just as he did in the last couple of games, especially against Australia, he can almost win the game off his own bat in the first 5 or 6 overs. And I think that if India do bat first, that is going to be one of the really exciting battles. That if this pitch, probably going to be a reasonable pitch, but there will be certainly something in it for the fast bowlers. What's he going to do against the big quicks that the South Africans have? They've got some real firepower with their fast bowling. Nortje has been great. Rabada's world class. Jansen is a difficult customer. They might even go in with the 4th quicker as well. That could be where the game is won or lost. But as you say, Sunil, with Surya Kumar Yadav in the middle order, and the way that they bat deep as well, with Akshar Patel and Jadeja right down low, they do have all bases covered, and they've been playing particularly well on these difficult sorts of pitches. I suppose they got a fair bit of practice on one of the most difficult pitches in the world in New York.
Tanmay, there are 2 things that are very important for today's final. One is the toss. You made a very interesting theory about England winning the toss and going the other way. I mean, their heart said something else, the brain said something else. Second, we draw you back to the final. India wasn't tested enough. They went into the final just 6 months ago without losing a match. And do you think that's going to hurt them, or the law of averages will catch up with them?
I think first things first. We've said this quite a few times. India hasn't chased in this tournament. England had a very good chance to do that, but they thought rain, and they thought they'd be happy chasing on a wicket. Only Rohit Sharma knows how to get runs on those wickets. It was a difficult wicket. I've been hearing people experts talk. They thought 140 on that wicket was good until Rohit Sharma batted on that wicket and showed how it's done. So more of the same. If South Africa really has to put India under pressure, if they win the toss, they really have to bat first. Secondly, I don't think so. Coming back to your point, it's more to do with both teams have their own process. When you've come this far, you will focus on, because they've played a lot against each other, even in IPL, they know their strengths. It's about coming on this particular day and able to, execute your plans. If you get it right first up, that puts the pressure of finals. Remember one thing, in both teams' mind, there will be that thing playing in their ears that we haven't won it. In South Africa's case, we haven't won it for a very long time. In India's case, it's always the case in the last 10, 11 years, we've not won it. So both teams, whether you like it or not, all the players know exactly what's at stake for them. So come in another couple of hours' time, you've got to put your best foot forward. Either team, whoever puts the best foot forward, has a chance.
Well, Noel David, one team hasn't won in the last 30 years. The other team hasn't won in the last 3 finals. Now, if you're an Indian player, you're walking in, would you be concerned about those stats, or today there is no matter of any stats put together?
No, not at all. I will not be concerned at all. Yes, it will be running back of my mind. But once I enter the field, my process will be on today's game. What can I do to win this finals? That will be in my mind. And I will keep it very simple, follow the same process, what went throughout the tournament, because I know as a captain, I have the batting, I have the bowling, and everything is falling right in place. So I will not be worried about stats. I will not be worried about 3 tournaments which I have lost. Nothing should worry once you enter into the field.
Well, before we get into a short break, Paul Jeanette, we've spoken about head-to-head. What do you think goes in the favor of South Africa? I mean, India has the edge in most of the places. What goes in the favor?
I think they're fast bowling, as I mentioned, and also they are a very good side, South Africa, that they've got weapons across the park. I think that India, pound for pound, are better. But if South Africa end up winning this game, I think it could be, A, because potentially they get the better of conditions. If India win the toss and bat and there's a bit of spice in the wicket early, or it could be they've got match winners. They've got Klaasen, they've got Stubbs, they've got Miller, they've got Aiden Markram. They've got plenty of batters who, that's the nature of T20 cricket. One batter has a day out, that can be the game winning for you. And, it turns out that there is a bit of spin in the track. That they're going to play both Maharaj and Shamsi. They've got 2 excellent spinners as well. So as I said, they could win the game. They have got really powerful players. I just think all of those things I mentioned, India matched them and probably slightly exceed them. But if it happens to be South Africa's day, then an upset's not impossible.
Well, we've discussed about India in details. Now, after the break, we'll talk about the head-to-head between the players and see where they sit in all the departments. Well, hello and welcome back to the finals of India versus South Africa. We are in Sharjah, close to the cricket ground, and reporting from a fan park called Karakal Misbah, which is an absolutely cafeteria which has allowed us to beam the special fan park. Again, when we come into the finals, Tanmay, what do you think will go into the mindset of the openers? Let's talk about the openers, then talk about the middle order, wicket-keeper, bowler, and then the spinners. Let's deconstruct that.
Indian team? We're talking about Indian team?
Absolutely, Indian team.
Okay. Look, it'll be more of the same. All eyes will be on Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli. we've got to respect the fact that the very first ball Virat played against England, he stepped out and tried to hit. That impressed certainly me and most of the fans, that there is a way Rohit Sharma wants to play this game. And now that is being imprinted on its players. He has to make sure, take the bull by its horn in the power play. He still has to make sure that they try. This is a much better wicket compared to that one of Guyana. There will be a bit of bounce. And Rohit likes the bounce. So try and make sure that you attack on the first 6 overs and then understand where the wind is coming from. We've already discussed this on this forum, that in Barbados, it's a bit windy. Make sure you use the advantage of the wind. Try get to a total anywhere between 170, because it's a final, anywhere between 170, 185 will be a very good total. You've got to set it up. Rohit in the top 4 have to try set it up for the lower order, and make sure that when likes of Hardik Pandya and Jadeja and maybe Dubey come in, they just want to, set blaze. So it's from an Indian point of view, they've just got to do more of what they've been doing so far. Understand the situation, understand the wicket, and then imply the same way. Rohit still has to make sure that he takes the bowlers on and keep doing what he's been doing so far.
Well, Paul Zinet, if you're looking at the openers from the South African team, do you think they're menacingly quick, fast, and fearless?
Yeah, I mean, Quinton de Kock is possibly not quite the player he once was, but he's still, on his day, can be an absolute match winner. Same with Reza Hendricks. I think that player for player, I'd still prefer the Indian openers. I think that Kohli, I think that what we've said in the show so far is quite true, that I think Kohli will go out there and play with great freedom. I think he's such a powerful character. He's going to say, okay, if I go out there, play aggressively and get out straight away, so be it. I'm content with that. I've achieved so much in the game. This is not going to define me. I'm going to give it everything and be aggressive, just like Rohit Sharma will be. And one of them is likely to...
No, David. Were you impressed, or are you concerned about Virat Kohli's lack of runs?
Of course, it does. If suppose I'm Rohit Sharma, it will play on my mind, because a person like, and a batter like, and a player like Virat Kohli, when he doesn't find the form when the team needs, that really concerns. But I will leave him, and I know that he will deliver when it really matters. And I hope today that whoever said, like Rahul and Rohit had said in this thing, saying that we are not worried, but we know Virat is saving everything for the finals. And I think that's huge confidence which they have on Virat Kohli. And I think today is the day where, as I said, King Kohli will deliver.
Well, Sachin Nathiambe, we are looking at a historic final. A team that hasn't won in the last 12 years, vis-a-vis the team that has never won anything at all. Now, from a South African perspective, will they go all out, or will they be cautious? You've observed the South African team better than anyone else. What is your assessment and view of it? Sachin Nathiambe from Zimbabwe.
Well, I think if you were to ask not just the supporters, but even South Africa themselves, the Proteas, if you went to Quinton de Kock like a few months ago and told them you'd be in the World Cup final, you'd rip your arm off for that, never mind winning it. Because I think that just goes to show they are probably the most happy to be there. And I think they've got nothing to lose. And if I was South Africa, I would actually try and approach it that way. Come in with a bit of fearlessness, because more so than anything else, you're not really coming in with that favorites tag. You do have the impetus to now at least try to put some more pressure on India. And I guess that's perhaps where, as I think we were implying earlier on, in terms of perhaps winning the toss, how they're going to go. Because I think if you especially look at the way South Africa sort of sits up when it comes from, we'll talk about bowling just now, but from bat perspective, de Kock, Hendricks, Malcolm, Stubbs, Klassen, those are going to be, in particularly, I think de Kock and Hendricks, they really need to set that foundation. Because if it starts to fall apart quickly, then I think they will crumble. So I think for them, definitely happy to be there. They have to play with fearlessness, because you've got nothing really to lose here. When you lose, I think it's been quite an achievement for South Africa. You can't really say the same for India. They will be more, focused on winning.
Well, Noel, and Paul. I'm going to ask you about the bowling, menacing bowling of South Africa, because you've seen them even in the IPL and now the World Cup. And Noel, I'm going to ask you about, is it perhaps the best bowling attack India has in any of the ICC World Cups? First off with Paul and then with Noel.
Well, I think that Anrich Nortje and Marco Jansen are enjoying the World Cup a lot more than they enjoyed the IPL. I think all the bowlers are feeling that. And I think that they do come into their own on these pitches, and especially if they're, I think that the Barbados pitch has favoured pace bowling quite a bit during this tournament. Jansen, tall, left armour, awkward. Anrich Nortje, extremely fast. Kagiso Rabada has one of the best records of any modern day bowler. So you've got a threesome there that is, on paper, as good as any fast bowling attack in the world. And that's been the hallmark of South Africa for years. Shamsi and Maharaj are excellent spinners. It's a bit of a debate whether they'll go in with Maharaj or Bartman. But either way you look at it, their attack is their strength. I think that their bowling has been better than their batting, although their batting has got some real power hitters. Their bowling has been what they've built their success on in this tournament on so far.
Noel David, before we wrap up our show tonight, what are the strengths that you look at Indians right now when they go into the match?
I think the bowling. I definitely will say the bowling, because the bowling has come a long way. What else can you ask for when you have Bumrah, when you have Hardik Pandya, Siraj, and don't forget, Shami not there in the list because he is nursing an injury. And if he was there, just imagine how powerful the pace attack would have been. Take the example of Akshar Patel. From where he has come and what he has become as a frontline spin attack bowler ahead of Ravindra Jadeja, and then Kuldeep Yadav is there, Chal sitting in the bench. What else can you ask as a bowling unit when you have this such superior quality of bowlers in your team 11? I think India should be more happier than any other, because we have players. We can choose players, whom to play, which spinner to play, and all that. So Rahul David and Rohit Sharma, I think they have the choices to make out of this team.
Well, Paul, final quick word. How do you look at the final today?
I think South Africa will serve it up to India, and there might be even patches where South Africa look like they're getting on top. Ultimately, I think India will be too good, and I think India is. That's my tip for winning the World Cup. Well,
that's all we had time for. We're doing a fan park review from all across the world. Jitendra Ziambe from Zimbabwe, I thank you. Tang Thalme Mishra from Nairobi, Kenya. World Cup player Paul Dinette, Sydney. Noel David, somewhere in Hyderabad, looking at the cricket pitch. Me doing it, saying thank you from the ICC headquarters in Dubai. That's all we had time for. We'll come back tomorrow and hopefully celebrate India's victory and the World Cup. Keep watching NewsX.